Seth Rollins just admitted to being Bron Breakker's attacker, and the why behind it changes everything. You need to hear this. What is going on, Suplex Rumble Nation? Welcome back to the channel where we dissect the biggest twists, the most shocking reveals, and the storylines that have everyone talking. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell because we're about to break down one of the most explosive revelations in recent wrestling memory. For weeks, we've been asking the same question: who attacked Bron Breakker? The mystery has been driving fans absolutely crazy, the speculation has been non-stop, and the theories have been everywhere from plausible to completely wild. But now, we finally have our answer. And trust me when I say, the reveal is somehow even more shocking than the attack itself. The visionary, the architect, the revolutionary Seth freakin' Rollins just dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. Let's break this down from the beginning. Let's rewind to where this all began, because context is everything in professional wrestling. Bron Breakker has been absolutely unstoppable. This second-generation superstar, son of wrestling royalty, has been tearing through the roster like a force of nature. We're talking about a physical specimen who combines old-school power with new-school athleticism. The intensity, the agility, the raw power. Bron Breakker has been positioned as the future of professional wrestling, and he's been living up to every bit of that hype. He'd been on this incredible winning streak, racking up victories, making statements, and calling out anyone and everyone who wanted a piece of him. The confidence was sky-high. The momentum was building, and it looked like absolutely nothing could slow down the Bron Breakker Express. And then, it happened. After a match where Bron had just decimated another opponent, he was backstage, giving an interview about his dominance, about how nobody in the locker room could match his intensity. The camera was rolling, Bron was in full intensity mode, and then boom. Out of nowhere, Bron was attacked from behind. We're not talking about a little shove or a cheap shot. This was a brutal, calculated, vicious assault. The attacker was wearing all black, their face obscured, and they went to work on Bron with a level of aggression that was honestly shocking to witness. The assault focused specifically on Bron's knee and back, targeting the foundation of his power game. This wasn't just about sending a message. This was about trying to take Bron Breakker out. This was about neutralizing the most dangerous rising star in the company. Security rushed in, officials swarmed the area, and by the time everyone arrived, the attacker had vanished into the chaos backstage. Bron was left writhing in pain, and we were left with nothing but questions. The cameras caught glimpses, but nothing definitive. No clear shot of the face. No obvious identifying characteristics. And thus began one of the most intense mysteries in recent wrestling history. In the weeks that followed, the wrestling world turned into a community of detectives. Everyone had a theory. Everyone had a suspect. And the speculation was absolutely out of control. Social media was flooded with analysis. Fans were breaking down every frame of footage like they were investigating a crime scene. Wrestling podcasters dedicated entire episodes to discussing possible suspects. The theories ranged from the obvious to the completely outlandish. Some fans suspected it was a rival from Bron's past, someone he defeated or disrespected on his rise to the top. Others thought it might be a jealous veteran who saw Bron as a threat to their spot. There were theories about it being someone from Bron's own family lineage, turning this into a deeply personal family rivalry. Some even speculated it could be someone from another brand trying to make a massive statement. The company itself leaned into the mystery. They aired packages reviewing the footage. They showed different superstars being questioned by officials. They had Bron himself, recovering from his injuries, demanding answers and promising retribution when he found out who was responsible. Every week, the tension built. Every backstage segment became scrutinized. Every interaction Bron had with another superstar was analyzed for potential clues. The mystery attacker became the story, the thing that had everyone tuning in week after week, desperate for answers. Bron Breakker, to his credit, refused to stay down. He came back earlier than expected, fighting through the pain, more intense and more dangerous than ever. But now he was fighting with a different motivation, not just dominance, but vengeance. He wanted to know who tried to end his career before it really even began. And the attacker? Radio silence. No follow-up attacks. No clues. No hints. Just this ominous presence hanging over everything Bron did, this unanswered question that seemed to grow larger with each passing week. Until this week, when everything changed. This week's episode opened with Bron Breakker in the ring, microphone in hand, the crowd absolutely electric with anticipation. Bron delivered a promo that was pure fire, demanding that his attacker show themselves, challenging them to face him like a warrior instead of hiding like a coward. He called them out for attacking him from behind. He called them out for targeting his injuries. He called them out for being too afraid to face him one-on-one when he was at full strength. The intensity was off the charts. The crowd was hanging on every word. And then, the arena went dark. When the lights came back up, there he was, standing at the top of the entrance ramp, microphone in hand, that signature confident smirk on his face. Seth freakin' Rollins. The visionary. The revolutionary. The Architect. A former world champion, a main event legend, one of the most accomplished superstars of this generation. And he was standing there, dressed in black, looking directly at Bron Breakker with absolutely zero remorse. The crowd exploded. The reaction was this incredible mixture of shock, excitement, and this sense of, oh, this makes perfect sense. Because when you actually think about it, Seth Rollins orchestrating this entire thing is absolutely brilliant. Seth didn't rush to the ring. He didn't need to. He stood there, letting the moment breathe, letting the reality sink in for Bron and for everyone watching. And then, he began to speak. And what Seth said was absolutely captivating. Seth talked about watching Bron Breakker's rise with great interest. He talked about seeing this powerful, intense young athlete being handed opportunity after opportunity, being praised and promoted and positioned as the future. He talked about hearing the comparisons to legends, hearing Bron being called the next big thing, the next monster, the next unstoppable force. And Seth explained that he saw something troubling. He saw a young superstar who had never been truly tested, who had never faced real adversity, who had never been humbled, who didn't understand what it really takes to survive at the top of this industry. Seth positioned himself not as a villain, but as a teacher, as someone doing Bron Breakker a favor. He explained that the attack wasn't about jealousy or fear. It was about education. It was about showing Bron that in professional wrestling, you can't just rely on power and intensity. You have to be smart. You have to be aware. You have to understand that threats can come from anywhere, at any time, from anyone. Seth talked about his own journey, about being betrayed, about being attacked, about learning the hard way that trust is a luxury and paranoia is survival. He talked about how those experiences, as painful as they were, made him into the complete performer he is today. They made him the visionary. They made him the architect of his own destiny. And he told Bron that by attacking him, by targeting his weaknesses, by forcing him to fight through injury and uncertainty and rage, Seth was actually preparing Bron for the real battles ahead. He was making him better. The psychology was incredible. Seth wasn't asking for forgiveness. He wasn't apologizing. He was standing there, completely confident, explaining his actions like they were completely justified. Like he was the hero of this story, not the villain. Now, you can imagine how Bron Breakker reacted to this explanation. He was furious. Bron absolutely tore into Seth verbally, calling out the hypocrisy of a man who built his career on betrayal now claiming to be some kind of mentor. He reminded Seth and everyone watching of Seth's history. The Shield betrayal. The countless backstabbings. The manipulations. The time Seth put his own ambitions above everything and everyone else. Bron told Seth that he didn't need or want his lessons. That he'd already learned the most important lesson, that Seth Rollins is a snake who can't be trusted, who attacks from behind because he knows he can't beat Bron face to face when Bron is ready for him. The verbal exchange was fire. Two of the best talkers in the business, going back and forth, each one landing shots, each one building the tension higher and higher. And then Bron issued the challenge. He told Seth that if he's so confident in his methods, if he's so sure that he's made Bron better, then prove it. Step into the ring, one-on-one, and see if the lesson Bron learned was the one Seth intended to teach. The crowd was absolutely losing their minds at this point. The chants were deafening. The energy was electric. This was the confrontation everyone had been waiting for, and it was delivering beyond expectations. Seth, playing his role perfectly, smiled that knowing smile. He told Bron that he'd accept the challenge, but on his terms. Not tonight, when emotions are running hot and Bron is operating on pure rage. No, Seth wants Bron at his absolute best. He wants Bron fully healed, fully prepared, fully focused. Because when Seth defeats Bron Breakker at his absolute peak, there will be no excuses, no injury to blame, no surprise to claim, just the undeniable truth that the visionary is still several steps ahead of the supposed future of this industry. Seth proposed they settle this at the next major event, giving Bron time to heal completely, time to prepare, time to strategize, making this not